Hello everybody. Welcome to Gather, Design, Create, and Celebrate. If it's your first time here, my name is Anastasia, and if it's not your first time here, then welcome back. If you like these videos, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment down below. The algorithm likes that kind of stuff, and slowly I'm figuring out how to use it all so that this channel may be successful. My hopes with this channel are that I can connect with people a little bit more deep like I do at our workshops, and I don't have a lot of time for that in my day-to-day life. Being a homeschool mom and trying to run a business at home, this is my outlet, my way of finishing up those deep conversations that tend to start up at family gatherings or events or things like that. So like you can see in today's topic, we will be talking about homeschooling. This may be something that is totally foreign to you and sounds like crazy. Why would you do that? And for others, it can be a curiosity, something that you want to know more about. And I'm so willing to share because I stumbled upon it. I didn't think that I would continue doing it, but no matter how difficult it may be at times, I see so many benefits in it, and I want to spread the good word. Even though we've been so conditioned to believe that the standard school is the norm and is what should continue to be the norm. So I want to start off by saying I'm not perfect, and my children are not perfect, and I do not do this perfectly. I just do it the way that it fits our family, and I do make mistakes. And because of that, and because the beauty of homeschooling is we pivot, we change, we alter, and we keep going with it until it works, and then we find the beauty and the smooth journey in it. How I got into homeschooling was unexpectedly. Of course, you can assume, like many homeschoolers actually now that you can find online, it was due to the pandemic. I come from a mindset that technology is not the best tool for our children. It is not the best tool for even us because of its addictive nature, because of the negative health issues that can arise from it, from eyesight to mental issues, so many different things that I do believe keeping a distance from technology while children are little is essential. And maybe, who knows, in a couple of years, people will be toting the same line as I am and saying that. Right now, I'm being met with a lot of pushback because there are a lot of parents that would prefer to give more screen time. And I don't mean just the television. I mean computers and iPads and phones, that sort of thing. Having said that, I won't go too much detail into that. Maybe that can be a video for another time. This particular video is about homeschooling, so that is just one reason why homeschooling came up in my mind, because I didn't want to do the online learning that was being proposed to the junior kindergarten class, which I don't think it's matching at all whatsoever with an age group that needs to experience in-person learning so much. And I didn't know what homeschooling was, so I had to obviously research it and understand education and research that. And then the biggest nail in the coffin, so to speak, was understanding curriculum, and in particular our curriculum. So we live in Canada, in Ontario. I was not born here. I came here when I was about 5.5 to Canada, and I experienced the full Canadian educational system. I was very fortunate in the sense that in my older years, my parents did try to put me into a private school. And the only light at the end of the tunnel was that my last formative years in high school were at a beautiful Christian school, Toronto District Christian High School. I will still tote its horn because it was an amazing school. And I was very fortunate and blessed to do that. But not everybody is. And I had always assumed that I was being taught what everyone was being taught, the standards, and how they were being taught was the standard. And now, as a parent, I had the rude awakening that not all schools teach the same standard in all of Canada. My apologies, I'm a little bit under the weather. So, as I was saying, I was disappointed to find out that in Canada, all the schools are not taught the same curriculum. I assume they were. We're in Ontario, Canada, so our curriculum is unfortunately the most, how can I word this gently without being too offensive? It is the most gentle and lenient when it comes to the basics, like mathematics and languages and science. So I had no idea that the students in British Columbia and in Alberta and in Nova Scotia were being taught a different standard and even different strategies when it came to languages, science, and math than in Ontario. And when I discovered this, I started to question why, and I started to question, well, if we're being taught differently, then what is the curriculum outside of Canada? What are the standards outside of Canada? And I started to look at America and their standards, which are higher, surprisingly, because we have a stereotype here of American education, but their standards are quite higher than ours. And then I started looking at European standards, and then that just, well, we're totally behind when it comes to our education system, unfortunately. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, because over the years, I have seen momentum. I have seen change. There has been issues going on behind the scenes with the teachers' unions and with the government. So slowly, things are changing, and I do see hope for the future. But like I said, it's unfortunate that whatever political party is in power at the moment affects the education of the children that are in a, say, 4 to 10 year gap. So now, being aware of this, I started to understand and be more concrete in my decision to homeschool, and which was not easy because there was a lot of pushback from my family. There was a lot of misunderstanding and just lack of awareness from my partner. So I had to educate other people on it, and not everybody wants to be educated on something like different, unusual, or extreme. And the thing that came up the most, there was two things that came up the most. One was socialization, which I will get to in a minute because that is the easiest one to knock off the charts. And the second was me. They felt bad for me. They sympathized with the amount of time or stress or worry that it would put onto me, the burden onto me. And I slowly started to understand that that had more underlying reasoning. And that was because the people themselves, they came from a place of love. Just they couldn't imagine themselves doing it. They imagined that it would be so hard for them to do it that they couldn't see someone else doing it. Now, I'm the kind of person that when it comes to my children, I will do anything for them so that they have a better future. And I was ready to try, and I was ready to roll up my sleeves, get dirty, and get in there. So I started reading, learning about different pedagogies and teaching styles, Maria Montessori, Charlotte Mason, Waldorf method, Rico. There's just a plethora of knowledge. There's a plethora of curriculums and free resources and paid resources and independent schools, and so many teachers who are leaving the system and offering up their experience and their knowledge and their services. And it's just this whole community that I didn't even know existed. And this whole wealth of knowledge when it came to child education and rearing and all of that, that I just became immersed in it, and I still am immersed in it. And I truly believe that a good parent, it doesn't matter which path you choose, to homeschool, to not homeschool, to private school, whatever you choose, as long as your heart and your mind are doing it with the intention that you're doing the best for your child that you are capable of, that's what counts the most. That's what they feel the most. That's what resonates with their learning the most, I believe. So please, this is not to make anyone else feel guilty for not being able to homeschool or guilty in their choices. Everyone makes the choices that they can at the moment when they can. Just my biggest takeaway from all of this will be, do it with knowledge, do it with understanding, and don't do it just because we've been conditioned to do these things step by step, just because all of our friends did, all of our childhood memories are like this, the sentimental values to it. Don't do it because you feel like there's no other choice, because there is always another choice. I've come across so many women that are single mothers or even single fathers that are homeschooling, or that are trying to do independent school half of the time and homeschool the other half of the time. So there's so many ways to incorporate home-based learning with your children. Doesn't matter what your economical or your family situation might be. But I will give you a word of warning that you will most likely have a lot of pushback from those who are comfortable in their conditioning. So like I said, the pushback is going to be the number one thing that you're going to probably deal with. I have been able to manage it because my determination, and my groundingness in it, if I can say that, if that's proper terminology, is so unshakable at this moment in time that I just take it in now. I see where it's coming from, and most of the time I just let it go. When it comes to socializing, I find the kids that are homeschooled are so socialized, and I don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings by saying this. I'm so concerned about the kids in the educational system right now and their socialization skills, because I could say the typical stuff that other homeschoolers say right now, like in terms of how can you socialize in your own age group and blah blah blah, but I'm just going to say it in a real day-to-day situation experience that I've seen myself. I see a lot of kids in the system struggling to communicate with other adults, not just their own parents, but other adults in social settings, whether it be at gatherings, whether it be at the stores, or with neighbors, on the bus, anything like that. I see a lot of kids struggling, finding words to say, making eye contact, communicating, and even making friends outside of their immediate circles. Like, I'll give you an example. Kids often have birthday parties with the kids in their class. Kids often go to events with the kids in their class. And if they have a friend that they go to the cottage with, or a friend that they are going out with, and there are other children that they can play with at the playground or something like that, they choose not to, and they choose to stay in their little circle of the people which they're comfortable with and which they know. On the reverse, I have the experience of homeschooled kids and my own kids, our own kids, that when they go out, they say hello, they make eye contact, they ask you questions, they'll tell you jokes, they'll have a full out conversation with you about everything from the weather to what they want for Christmas to so-and-so. They're ready to make friends anywhere they go. For sure, one of them is a little bit more shy than the other, but they kind of team up. So they have the confidence to go and ask someone new to play with them. They introduce themselves. They have lots of games that they can come up with and that they play with it. And it's really weird to have my kids who are so young come and tell me things like, Mommy, why do those kids not want to play our games? Why do those kids, they're on their phone and they don't want to play, but they're at the playground? Or why is it that, you know, they're not being creative with things we can do? They just want to play the same game again and again. So it's silly questions like that, but it just makes me think like how the creativity might be different for certain kids than other kids. So social isn't something I'm concerned about, especially at this age group. Now, is homeschooling for all age groups? It could be. I don't see why not. I see teenagers struggling right now with peer pressure. My own experiences I had. I would have actually loved to be homeschooled. I didn't know this was a thing. If I knew it was a thing, I would have loved to be homeschooled. So everyone is different. Now, I am going to cut this video short because I am a little bit under the weather. So every so often I do want to cough. So I'm not able to say everything I want to say in a lengthy video. So I'll keep it short. But if you are interested in more information about homeschooling, I am getting ready to be pumping out more videos in detail so I can share with you how I choose a curriculum, different learning styles, even looking at parenting and education and understanding different child milestones and seeing how that plays into their education and into their personality types. So if you are interested in that, please like, subscribe for more. Please comment down below. I'd love to interact with you. I'm sure there's others who have questions, and I know I haven't answered a lot of questions in this video. It's just a little taster for what's to come in terms of homeschooling, but that's just what made us start. And there's so many more things that keep us going. So I'm so happy to have you watch. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of my videos that I have down below. There's more to come. It is the holiday season, so for sure there will be a DIY coming up shortly and a lot more to come. So yeah, thanks again, and I hope to hear and see from you soon.